This content has been brought to you by my Patreons, and if you'd like to join them, link is in the description.
So what's up, everybody? Welcome to Overthrow Media, your best place for politics, hip-hop, and life. It is Big Villainous, your revolutionary comrade, dope-ass MC, and international sex symbol. Today we're going to be talking about police terrorism and how it's impacting our community. We're going to talk about the current events and just our impressions of police and our experiences with them. When we come right back. All right, deuces.
Living in the house of usher, parasitical added structure. The plague begins to cluster in the house of usher.
Man, it's I have new appreciation for everybody doesn't realize for how close most YouTubers are to whoever have on guests, because I'm barely in this frame. They're barely
This
in
is
this
a
frame.
small ass table.
And this table is tiny. It's not that big. This is like a full-on table, like it looks like. You know?
It's a little like TV stand.
Before we really jump into it, I want to give a minute to my sponsors. Y'all know, y'all my motherfucking sponsors, so make sure to check me out on Patreon and support there, or grab some of these dope-ass teas.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe give an introduction to yourself and tell the folks a little bit about yourself. You know what I mean? A little bit about who you are and your experience with police.
Damn, dude. I'm Tyler. I'm 28. I have lived in Seattle for like 7 or 8 years now. But I'm from the area. My experiences with cops have not been good, like most people, I think. My experiences with cops before I moved out here are like not very different from my experiences with cops. When I did move here, I know like multiple families who have had their people killed in like in their family and stuff like that. Hallsville cops were fucked up. Kitsap County cops in general are pretty fucked up. Like there's not, I feel like a lot of people paying attention to what they're doing, so they do some fucked up shit. But yeah, moving out here, I mean, I pretty much, as long as I've lived in Seattle, and even before that, I've gone to protests and shit like that out here. All of them have had like unnecessary and extreme police presence out there. There's always pushback, there's always agitation happening. Regardless of what the protest is for, like when I first moved here, I went to a lot of like pro-sex work protests and stuff like that. I remember the Women's March and stuff like that was like, it's a damn Women's March. You would think you don't really need all that fucking much force to like, I don't know, it's kind of stupid, but like, I don't know, like it's always a thing at every fucking demo. You can't fucking do anything without, I mean, Seattle is very much like a police state city.
Actually, I remember that. I think that's the first time we met, and I remember like the crowd giving us hella space, but we're trying to wave at the cops, all like, "Hi, you guys, thank you."
Like we're playing music, like there's literally nothing, but there's fucking like people always like waiting for you to fucking do something that they can jump you for. Like it's stupid. But yeah, that was a really funny event. But yeah, like other than that, I mean, most of the shit I've been to, like more recently, that are like Black Lives Matter protests and stuff like that, which is or like different more local stuff. That was sort of like a national. Well, I guess Black Lives Matter is national, also, but like you know what I mean. That was like more like local community type protests and stuff like that. Those have like I feel like it's even worse with those type of events because I think those are actually more threatening to the police here. So they show up and try and like stamp that type of shit out even more so.
Big facts. So what was your first experience with police? Was it good or bad?
My first like personal experience with police was when I was probably like 13 or 14, and I got arrested for shoplifting, and it was literally not a big deal. I think it was at Walmart, and it was like an $8 item or something like that, and I had the money for it, I just didn't want to spend it, and I don't know. I was a little fucking white kid in Port Orchard, so I didn't have like they weren't mean to me or anything, but it was not a good experience either, you know? They didn't necessarily go easy on me, like I actually got arrested and stuff like that, but I don't know. That was like just, I guess, like a first impression, because honestly, prior to, like I said, I was like 13 or something like that when that happened. Prior to that, I actually had very minor interactions with police at all. Like I was homeschooled, I didn't deal with even school cops or anything like that. So, so that was like kind of like, I guess like one of the early experiences. And yeah, I mean, it's not like a big deal, but it does leave like a kind of bad taste in your mouth. Like, this could have easily been like, I just sit down with the manager of the store and settle it. Like, hey, I have the money for it. Like, I'm sorry. You know, like, I'm a kid. I'm being stupid. You know, fucking what 13-year-old hasn't done some dumb shit or whatever. But, I don't know. So I'm like, it's kind of like, it's not like the worst thing, but it still shows, I think, like the unnecessariness of like the job. Like, that's just like not even something that needed to have. It's sort of a waste of time and energy, you know. But yeah, I mean, as an adult, all my experiences with police, I'm not somebody who ever is in a situation willingly with police. I don't call police or anything like that. But I've never had like a good experience. I've never had an experience where I was like, oh, thank God that policeman was there or whatever. I've literally never had that.
Yeah, I mean, 100. I mean, I remember my first experiences were very enlightening to me. Like, I remember first experience was actually like Dare, and they would come in.
That's
but
cool.
I specifically remember them handcuffing us and having us sit, like, had each one of us come up, and we're like, I don't know, 9, 10 max, handcuffing us, putting us in the back seat, having us sit there and unhandcuff us.
Yeah.
It was like, well, wait, but if you're here to be like a good influence, why are you throwing us in the back seat, right? Like, that doesn't make sense.
Exactly.
When I think about it as an adult, right? But as a kid, I just don't know.
I mean, putting a kid in a police car, period, is like gonna influence them. You don't need to fucking do the scare tactics. They
ain't no behind and in front, but
it's
still.
fucking like psychologically proven that scare tactics don't do anything except scare people. It doesn't scare you away from it. If anything, it actually like can do the opposite. Like, it just doesn't work. Do you remember that fucking show Scared Straight that used to be on MTV or whatever? All those fucking kids ended up going to jail. Like, all of them got fucked up from that experience. I'm like, dude, that's because that shit doesn't work. You have to actually like give people resources, not just fucking scare them and like shame them for doing this dumb shit that they do as teenagers or whatever.
And here's the thing, right? It's like, if I'm not gonna say it wouldn't work for some kids, but it's gonna work for the kids that probably weren't gonna go to prison in the first place, right?
Yeah.
It's gonna like influence them more so. But someone who's like living that life, that kid is in that life, bro, that's the reality. And you're a little scared tactic.
They see that, and then they're just like, okay, well now I know what I'm dealing with, and fucking.
And like,
I don't have any. It's not like you presented me with any other options. I'm still gonna keep living the way I'm living. Like.
Yeah, and like, you know, it's just like the youngsters, they're like,
they don't know.
If anything,
that's what they know.
The ones that are really like out there like that are gonna see through the bullshit. They're like, this is all bullshit. They're faking.
Exactly.
They all faking. Like, this is dumb.
They can't actually do shit. So like, they're all just standing in there like what? Like, you know. Yeah.
I did
fucking Dare and shit like that. None of that shit like doesn't anything. That's also like a waste of resources. I feel like yes, you need to have fucking harm reduction education, and yes, I think you should start that early. But that was not what that was like.
I did like the one little girl who was like who was in there, and then the CEO was like, yo, what, you want to punch me? Go ahead, punch me. Wow.
Yeah.
Yes.
You thought, huh?
Thought she wouldn't do it. She was like, fuck that.
Nobody's stopping her, man. You're like, you're in her house, man.
And then the other thing is like they want to act like she was wrong. They're like, no, you literally told her to punch you.
You
go punch you. What the fuck did that happen? You can exactly. That's not assault.
I'm sorry.
You consented to it. It's not assault. Exactly.
You got it on camera. You got you can't really call it assault. It sucks. You didn't think you would get that, but. You asked for it. You literally asked for it.
I mean, I don't think it's like anybody who punches any CO get punched. I'm like, yeah. Especially if you get punched by a little kid, just like, whoo.
Yeah, you thought they wouldn't fucking have the whatever to do it, but.
And then she super deserved it because she's like making her jog in place and she's yelling in her face and shit. Like, bro, you're begging to get punched. And you tell her to punch you. Get
You can't fucking spit in somebody's face like that and not expect them to push back, dude.
Bro,
and who do you think you're dealing with? They're fucking gonna.
Exactly, they're youngsters. The youngsters
don't give no fuck. Yeah, like,
not if they're really from the streets.
And they're already in
no
here. They have nothing to lose right now. So like,
especially if they're from the streets too. They're like, they don't give a fuck. Well, this is a joke to them. Yeah. And fuck you. That's how I
exactly.
Like,
fully out my face. Bam.
As somebody who was definitely a bad kid, that was a thing, or a quote unquote bad kid. You know what I mean? That's the thing. You're not gonna like the more you, and also for me, for people like me, like all you do by pushing against me is make me push back harder. Actually, I wanted to hit on the one thing too. My first experience outside of there, I remember, and like I had already learned to dislike cops because I had treated other people even though I didn't got that. I was like 12.
Yeah.
And I remember riding past this cop, and I was like, "Fuck the police!" And I was like on my bike, you know what I mean? Just little kid shit, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Exactly.
At the time, I was like, you know, the cops fucked up to everybody I know, and
I had more peripheral experiences from other people having fucked up shit happen to them. I'm like, I already know, fuck y'all. Like, I already know all you do is fuck with people, but
I didn't have real disdain for him until after this incident because I was like, fuck the police, right?
Right. So
this motherfucker rolled up while I'm riding by my bike, pulled me over, and threatened to rape me in the bushes.
Yeah.
Bruh,
what the fuck is that? What the fuck is wrong with you to, like, not only, first of all, take it personally that a little fucking kid said fuck you, who cares? Some kid on a bike, doesn't matter, keep driving. Like, and second of all, to fucking jump to, what is wrong with your brain to fucking jump to that? Like,
and talking about like why not to call the cops, right? So speaking of that,
like,
right?
if, as a kid, if that's you're like, why the fuck would I call the cops? Like,
I couldn't have been like 3 or 4 months later.
Yeah.
That our window got broke by somebody I was beefing with, right? So my grandma, being a telling ass self, called the fucking police, and guess who showed up?
Oh, of course, Mr. Friendly Neighborhood cop.
That threatens to rape kids.
Yeah.
You know, like, okay. And so of course, I'm glad. I didn't want her to call the cops. I was like, please don't call the cops, but she would not hear me. She's like, no, they broke it. What do we gotta call cops? Like, I don't.
Yeah.
Just let it go. Like, I'll handle it. Let it go.
Right. Like,
you know what I mean?
we'll fix it, but like, please. Nope.
But yeah, and then it's him that showed up. So he obviously didn't take it seriously, which I'm like, okay, I was kind of grateful for because I didn't want him to take it seriously. I didn't want to be there in the first place. But it was like, that was a reality check. And I was like, man, yo, grandma, that's the cop that threatened to rape me in the bushes.
Yeah.
Like, that's who you should never call the cops in the first place.
This is the fucking people that are claiming to help you. No, like.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And that was like my first like introduction to how the police really are. And after
like,
that,
this is how you really operate. You're just like fucking actually slimy, nasty, fucking disgusting scum people, but then you're fucking
hold up as heroes.
Yeah.
Like, we hero? How?
How am I supposed to call you for help when you're gonna fucking like sexually harass me on the street the next day? I'm like, what the fuck? Like, exactly. Who the fuck are you to help me? Like, I'll handle it my fucking self at that point. Jesus Christ. Like,
I mean, the supposed solution to the problem is worse than the problem. And
exactly.
Trying to call these fools like they're gonna help us. They ain't gonna help us.
They're gonna make it worse. And they always make it worse. Yeah.
A girl who got shot and murdered by the police. Like, supposedly she's the one that called. It shows how much, like, yeah, she was the aggressor in the moment, but like, you don't know what happened before then.
Well,
you don't know what happened in the situation.
Like,
she was clearly outnumbered, so she might have just got jumped and was reacting emotionally.
She was literally surrounded by people who were all fucking cheering on the fight, and she was the one who called because she felt like she couldn't get out of the situation. The officer that showed up, he gave 3 seconds, literally 3 seconds before he shot, and he said, calm down. And then he shot 3 seconds later. It's like, how is she supposed to calm down in 3 seconds when somebody is running at her and she's holding a knife and she doesn't know what to do? She's 16, you know? Like,
facts. And like,
she doesn't have de-escalation tactics. You're supposed to. You're fucking supposed to. So what the fuck are you doing? Like, why are you showing up with a gun pointed? Like,
I mean, yeah, why would she's 16?
Kids, two kids.
Even if you felt
little girls, like, what the fuck, bro?
Even if you felt like you were trying to save the other girl, even if that felt like that was the idea in your fucking brain,
I understand.
Why the fuck did you use a taser?
Why did somebody have to die?
Like, exactly. Why'd you go to the gun? And what actually shooting at somebody when someone's trying to stab them? Like, the bullets go right through bodies, bro. Like, he could have literally killed both of them anyway. So
it was close range too. He was like fucking like 6 feet away, 8 feet away. It was like ridiculous. Yeah, it's just the whole thing is like, I don't know. People are doing what I mean. People fucking always try to do this, but I feel like they're especially trying to do this with this because there's video of her, you know, quote unquote being the aggressor or whatever. But people always try and fucking blame the victim, and it's like, I don't fucking care if she was in the middle of. I don't care if she was literally fucking in the middle of swinging the knife on somebody, which she was holding it and she was trying to defend herself, but. You know, it might have been in a fucking offensive situation. It doesn't matter. She's a 16-year-old. She's a little kid. She doesn't fucking know what she's doing. she's not really required to know what the fuck she's doing. She's like, we know, if that was a white kid, I mean, this is always the fucking question that you have to ask. I mean, would this have even happened? No, like, just no, like, it wouldn't have. Somebody would have fucking tackled him or de-escalated the situation. I've seen cops literally walk in between a situation like that and use their own fucking body as a shield.
Bet. Look, like, and I won't say this.
You can de-escalate without nobody has to fucking die here. There are two fucking high schoolers fighting. Like, figure it out. Like, fucking figure it out. I know fucking 10 people who could have handled that situation better than that. Nobody would have died.
Bro, you could have came up behind her and just took the knife from her.
Literally, like, you don't even have to fucking be a fucking genius in how to do fucking intersocial, like, de-escalation tactics or whatever. Dude, just fucking, she's 16. What's she gonna do? Take it from her.
Exactly. She's not watching for you.
Tackle somebody. She's in fucking, like, deer in the headlights, fight or flight mode. She is, like, locked onto the situation. Just fucking take it from her. Pull the other girl away from her, like, you know.
And I promise you, she didn't even realize the police were there. I promise you, because she moved that she didn't realize the police were there.
No.
And she was like, so the whole thing was like, everybody,
she didn't even react when he said calm down, because she was in fight or flight mode. Like, she was, like, locked on, you know. It happened before she could even fucking figure out.
And I gotta
she called
say
them
this.
to help. Like, she fucking didn't want to be in that situation, you know.
And like when I worked at DESC, I had literally broken up knife fights. It's not that difficult.
It's
you're
also
not
super
the target.
common. So people being like, "Oh, what the fuck? She had a knife." I'm like, literally. Okay, you clearly have not seen that many fights. That happens all the fucking time. Most people carry some kind of knife on them. I feel like that's super common. And she's a teenager, whatever. Like, she fucking. You can criticize all day, like, whether or not she was making good choices. No 16-year-old knows how to make good choices. I don't care what you're saying. Like, I don't care if they're fucking, like, honor students. Like, they're not making good choices. 16-year-olds are stupid as fuck. But that's not the point. Like, she called for help because she knew she couldn't handle the situation. She didn't know how to handle the situation. That's why she called for help. The person who showed up to help her should have been able to handle the situation. And instead they killed her. Like, that's not what the fuck you were called for. That's not what there was no point in that. There was no reason for it to happen, so.
People have all these illusions, right? And we just can't bring these fools into our house. Because when it comes down to it, it's just like, they ain't here for our interest, they're for theirs.
No, exactly.
You know what I mean? And so,
there's
like,
always a higher interest in any situation that the police are called into. The higher interest is them, so. Even if you, like, are the beneficiary of any kind of help that the police are doing, ultimately they're doing it because they're fucking supporting themselves. Like, it's an organism that fucking feeds off itself. And so, just like, I don't know, any situation that they're in, it's nothing actually good long term comes from it. Like even if something short term is resolved or whatever, it's like long term it just is like feeding the fucking beast.
Yeah, man, and it's the thing is because right as like Derek Chauvin gets convicted, all these fucking things happen right
at the
all
same
at once.
time while the verdict was being read, you know.
Bro, like set off. You know what I mean? They killing little 13-year-olds, they're killing little 16-year-olds.
Like 30 miles away from the courthouse and like 10 miles away from fucking where Chauvin murdered George Floyd. It's like, you can't say this isn't a fucking problem when it's literally, I mean, there's things happening in different parts of the country all at the same time too that are just as horrifying. It's like, you can't say that this isn't a fucking problem. Like, convicting Derek Chauvin doesn't fix anything. Like, when literally at the time the verdict is being read, somebody else is doing the same fucking thing. The problem is far from fixed, clearly, you know?
And that's big facts, because like, I don't know, people act like it like this is supposed to be something to celebrate. I'm like, it doesn't celebrate. They're scapegoating. They're scapegoating one fucking pig.
He's a martyr.
I don't give
and that's gross. Like, I don't want to fucking martyr this guy. Like, no, dude. He's not fucking dying for nobody's sins. Like, no, this is not. We're not gonna fucking use him as the scapegoat and be like, okay, now all of our fucking police are never gonna be allowed to be racist ever again. It's like, no, that's not how that works. And we're not gonna fucking Nancy Pelosi and be like, well, thank God that somebody died for this cause. Like, no, there's been no justice. That person doesn't get to go back to their family. And Chauvin going to fucking prison for what, 12 years he's probably gonna get? Less than 20 for sure. People are being like, oh, he's gonna spend. I saw Tucker Carlson say he's gonna spend the rest of his life in prison. I'm like, how old do you think this man is? He's 45. He's gonna be out before he's 60. Like, chill, bro. Like, that's not justice. And even if he fucking did spend the rest of his life in there, it wouldn't be justice. Like, this whole fucking thing is the problem, and all of that needs to all of that needs to be accountable, not just fucking one little cog in the machine. Like,
Do you know what justice means?
explain. What's
Justice
the definition?
means judge.
Yeah.
It's a judge. Justice was a judge the whole time. So like, well, that's what they talk about when they talk about a justice. Is
Right.
a judge.
Oh yeah.
It's like when we always ask for justice, I'm like, why do we even ask for something? Because literally we're asking for a judge. Judge is what we're asking for. I think
And the judges are usually never people whose judgment on the particular issue they're judging should be taken for anything but face value. But
I think the etymology of the word is also important too, because when we see that we're like calling for a judge, man, we might want to rethink what we're asking for. So I want to ask to be
accountability, yeah.
Accountability, you know what I mean? Honestly, retribution, bro.
Yes.
We want retribution. We want, like, and retribution to come from the state.
Yeah.
Like, if the state was anything, then what they do is they put out like a free-for-all. This person no longer protected by the law.
And the state is going to get the retribution too when it's their turn, when we can get that far. But right now we're starting here, you know? But like, yeah, fucking putting this guy in prison isn't fucking fixing anything.
I'm not crying for him, but...
No, exactly. I'm not crying for him. I'm, happy that his life is gonna suck for a while now. But like, that doesn't fix fucking anything. It doesn't fix anything. He's also gonna be fucking protected the whole time he's in there. Like, he's gonna be fine. He's gonna be fine. And honestly, I would prefer that he had some kind of sentence where he had to be out here with everybody else getting his ass beat on a fucking day-to-day basis for the rest of his life, you know? Like, being in prison in like a protected environment with all the fucking COs probably watching his house 24/7. That doesn't really do anything for anybody. So
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Like, just hold him in his house and then slowly push him out when all the friends and family, the people he killed, are outside and have to deal with whatever happens, and there's no protection for him. That's how the law should function, in my opinion.
Well, I mean, if people are supposed to have consequences for their actions, so far he hasn't had any consequences other than he's going in timeout, basically.
Yeah, and like, you know,
he should have some real consequences. He should deal with the social consequences of that. He's the first guy who's ever been convicted of something like this, and even then, this is still nothing more than a slap on the wrist. He's going to get literally, like, the max that he can get basically is 15 years because he's not serving any of his sentences consecutively. He's serving concurrently, so he's basically gonna be in there less than 20 years. He's still gonna be out. He's still gonna be able to get out. He's still gonna have probably a family waiting for him and a community that is still fucking rallying for him, because to this day there are a bunch of people who are pissed that he got convicted. He'll be fucking fine. Like, he'll probably be able to go back to work in another department even. Like, it will fucking be whatever, you know? It won't change a damn thing, so...
I'm cool with him only getting like 10 or 12, but if we can make a machine where we can suck his youth out and give it to Mamiya...
Exactly!
And then, like, dance for that, so...
If that 12 to 15 or whatever was doing something worthwhile other than him just sitting in a cushy little cell, probably with his feet up, you know?
Every year transfers 5 years of his life to Mamiya, so
yes.
then that's okay. Then we can do that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I just shout...
Make his life worth something, you know? Because right now, what the fuck is he doing? Like... Nothing good.
But we don't have no machines yet, so I just think it should be given to the people he hurt and let what happens happen.
Exactly.
No repercussions for anybody who gets.
Well, at least
justice.
then he would be. I mean, it would be therapeutic. He would be serving a purpose. That's community service, you know. Like, that's true community service.
And like, the thing is, like, what drives me crazy is because it's clear there was never no second degree murder here. This was first degree premeditated.
There's also no manslaughter. Like, this was straight up first degree murder, and why are we even doing any other charges? Why are we even pretending there's other, like...
Exactly. And like, I don't know, and I've always been a policy, before I was even political, my policy was like this. Cops, if they're gonna be a cop, when I was apolitical and I wasn't completely fuck every single cop, right?
Right.
Before I got to that point, I was always like this. They should do double time, period.
Yeah.
Anything they do should be twice the sentence. Not less, more. Because
they knew better.
They're supposed to be a symbol of...
Not only did they know better, but supposedly they have all the education and training to do better than everybody else. Like, you are supposed to know better and also be able to act better. And act accountably and everything. Act like safely with the knowledge of how to fucking be a part of a community that's supposed to keep people safe. That's the whole fucking point, bro. So if you fucking have all this knowledge or whatever, you have this higher status where you can monitor everybody else or whatever, and fucking supposedly be the judge, jury, and executioner on any given fucking case that you walk into. Then where the fuck is all your fucking morals, how does that just go out the window anytime you fucking feel scared or whatever?
I mean, and the truth is
for no fucking reason, just because you saw somebody darker than you.
And the truth is because they aren't here to implement any type of state-based morality. It's really about money, right?
Mm-hmm.
They get people imprisoned, enslaved to be able to make the state and the corporations money.
Yep.
And so it has very little to do with trying to be upstanding person that upholds a better society. You know what I mean? It's not about that at all. It's about slave catching from get.
It's literally a profit. Where's the follow the profit? That's all. 100% all it is.
Is that, and it's to put fear into those who maybe have qualms or reasons to have grievances with this government. And that is why the police exist. And I think a lot of people want to imagine that it's about this morality. But if it's like I said, if it's about this morality, they would get twice the sentence if they break it, because they're supposed to be a pinnacle of that morality.
If that's what our fucking society was actually about, this whole fucking, the whole trial was like a fucking circus of so-called justice, you know, it was a fucking, it was a show. We're 100% scapegoating him. He's just playing a role, you know, for the country, basically, to be okay, well, now we solved the case, you know, fucking wash our hands of it or whatever. It's dealt with. He's serving a role just to be an archetype of you know, the guy who fucking took the L for the cause, basically. He's oh, okay, so from this point forth, we'll do better. But meanwhile, literally, as the verdict is being read, somebody is getting shot 30 miles away and murdered. A kid, a child. Yeah.
And everybody's so impressed by all these cops testifying.
Yeah.
Bro, they're doing it to save the rest of them. It has nothing to do with
exactly.
doing what's
They're
right.
all saving face. That's all they've ever done. And even this whole thing, even though this is supposed to, people are being this has never happened before. Finally, someone is going to court, somebody's being held accountable. It's are they, or are they just able to use this fucking guy who's young enough to get out before he's, you know, he'll still probably be able to have a career if he wants to afterwards, you know? Unless he chooses to retire, because he could be on paid leave or something like that after he gets out, you know what I mean? He's gonna be fine for the rest of his life. This prison sentence literally means nothing to him. So there's nothing justifying any there's no justice happening here. There's no resolution happening or whatever. And it's just kind of gonna make it, I feel I don't know. People are well, maybe now we'll be able to see more of these type of things getting prosecuted. I'm I don't think so. I think it will probably be less.
I do think so, and not because of him. I don't think this is because of this, right? It's because I got called it. Nobody thought he was gonna be convicted but me. I was no, he's done.
I definitely thought he was.
Okay, well,
thank you.
We in it.
Okay,
everybody else was no,
he's going to fucking be the fucking Jesus on he's gonna die for everybody else so that they can keep being fucking racist in their jobs or whatever. But he's gonna go to prison and everybody's gonna be all the liberals are gonna be oh, see, thank God.
The justice system works. He's going to prison. That's gonna fix everything.
Dude, no, that fucking changes nothing. But yeah.
Yeah, no, and everybody was convinced that. I'm nah, man.
They're it's not gonna work. This is not how the system works. I'm this is exactly how the system works.
Scapegoat, because it was too big. It was too big. They could not contain
They couldn't ignore it.
And the thing is, precincts have never burnt down before. There wasn't cop cars burning across the nation.
And obviously, it's gonna get worse if he does. And I mean, it's good that people still fucking went out even after the verdict and fucking fuck shit up, because.
And here's the reason
that verdict is not fixing anything, but
And here's the reason I think it's gonna keep getting people indicted, right? Is because these cops indicted, right? Because it's like this. They were trying to patch one hole in this sinking ship.
Yeah.
And during that same time, 3 more pop right up. And the thing is, it's not every time, yes, There's always been a time where they're trying to try a cop for manslaughter usually, and then other violence happens.
Yeah.
But it never had the impact or hit people the same way. Now
It
it's
never
hitting
got
people.
I mean, this was
Like,
literally
it's how the-
worldwide publicity. There was no sweeping it under the rug. People were on every continent fucking.
I know, and that's the holes, and
So-
those are things. They are being seen for who they are and what they do, and so there's like holes in the ship. They pass this one, 3 more pop up. You know?
Exactly.
And that's kind of what be happening is like. I think that's why I know like there's gonna be more people charged. Like the one lady's getting charged right now for.
That's true, yeah, for Dante, right? Yeah, fucking what's her name, Kim Potter. I mean that whole situation, again, was I think the video evidence and stuff like that in a lot of these cases, the fact that those videos are going viral, which is horrible that it has to take that, but like I think the fact that happens when something goes viral, you can't fucking ignore it. And when the video in question that is viral and everybody fucking saw literally shows you, like, especially in the video with Dante, right, which I don't recommend anybody watch, but I watched it, and there's no, you can't twist the story in the way that they're trying to if you have seen the video. They're trying to say like it was an accident. It's like, no, like she said she was gonna tase him and then she pulled her gun. I know what a loaded gun feels like, and let me just make it clear, I haven't held a gun since I was like 17 years old. But like, I know that like a taser gun, which weighs probably like 6 ounces, and a gun with loaded bullets in it feel different, and they are also on different sides of the body, they're different colors, and she's supposedly been doing this for over 25 years. So, she was training somebody else. She even fucking at the end of the video, like, when she goes, oh shit, I killed him, the officer she was training says, oh well. You can't fucking have a video like that go viral, and literally, like, people in every country fucking see something like that. Same with the George Floyd video. It's just, like, so blatantly, like, people are begging you, get the fuck off him, he's dying, and you're literally just looking them in the face like, what? Like, you can't just have something, like, everybody see something like that and just pretend it didn't happen. It's too much to pretend it didn't happen anymore. But, like, convicting these individuals isn't fixing anything. Like, that's, holding an individual accountable for this isn't going to fix anything. I mean, in both cases, Chauvin and...
Rico act the police.
Yeah, Chauvin and fucking Potter were both training other officers while they were doing that. So they were essentially teaching somebody how to get away with murder, or so they thought. They're being held accountable, so-called accountable in the courts, you know, or whatever now. But, like, that's not fixing anything, because, I mean, the system that taught them to teach other people how to do that and taught them how to do that kind of thing, horrible thing, like, that's the problem, and that thing is going to keep existing whether or not they're in prison or whatever. Like, that system, that whole fucking organism is still thriving with or without Kim Potter or fucking Derek Chauvin or any other fucking murderer caught. Like, it doesn't, sacrificing an individual like that doesn't do anything. It just, like, makes the rest of it stronger. Like, it doesn't do anything.
As far as the Dante Wright and the Kim Potter situation, I just gotta say it like this, man. I'll give her this. I'll give you the concept that you didn't realize you pulled her gun out. Let me give that to you.
Sure, let's say, for argument's sake.
Let's say you're not lying, right?
Yeah.
That is reckless endangerment leading to a death, which
that
is second-degree murder.
Second-degree murder, yeah. You still murdered somebody. That still is, like, not a fucking... oops, I made a boo-boo. Like, no, bitch, you fucking still murdered somebody. That's still murder. Also, again, I haven't held or fired a gun since I was fucking 17 years old. I have no formal training whatsoever of any kind. I have training via my fucking redneck grandpa in Texas. I shot a gun like a few times when I was a teenager. That's all I know, but I still know the basic, you know, fucking set of rules that anybody should know when you're handling a gun, and you fucking you pointed it at somebody. So why'd you point it at somebody if you didn't intend to kill them? Also, while you were pointing it at them, you like kept saying, I have a taser. I have a taser. I have a taser. Like, you kept repeating it while it was, I mean, you're aiming, so like it's in front of your face, right? Like, what do you mean you didn't, what part was the accident? Like,
why is your adrenaline popping so much for a fucking traffic stop that like was a misdemeanor warrant. Like, why the fuck would you even tase them over it? You know
also,
what
yeah, I mean, like I'll just
honestly,
say,
if I'm gonna say this as someone like doesn't believe, if I did believe in the system, the logical thing would be let him go away. You know his name. You put another
license plate number.
That's another warrant on top of it.
That's what I'm saying.
And I'm not saying we should do that. I'm not saying the people have to sign on the bill.
I'm
but
just saying that
like,
has happened to me. So why didn't I fucking get in a crazy police stop? I mean, I know why I didn't get in a crazy police stop or anything like that, but I've had fucking gotten tickets that way. So, I mean, that's kind of like the protocol of how to give tickets. Supposedly, I'm assuming the excuse is that she was training somebody, so she was going to try and conduct an interaction of some sort and do that as a training formality, but you fucking trained someone in how to murder, basically how to trick somebody. Like, when he was walking back to his car, you kept saying, I have a taser, over and over again with your gun aimed and pointed at him, and the fucking, you took the safety off, your fingers on the trigger. How do you do all of those things and not realize it's a gun?
And there's no threat. There was no threat. He wasn't a threat.
Walking away.
He was trying to get away. Cool. Like, good. You know, like, okay. Like,
and he wasn't like running or like saying like fuck you or anything. He was just walking back to his car.
If he was, fuck you, jumped in the car and drove off.
Even if he was, even if you fucking, yes, even if he fucking shoved her over and ran back to his car and fucking skirt, like, it doesn't matter. But like, it wasn't an escalated situation until an officer decided, let's escalate this.
And we watched the video, he clearly wasn't reaching for anything, so he can't make that excuse. He was just trying to drive away.
He's like, this is an unnecessary interaction, it's escalating, I'm gonna walk away. As any sane person should. And for not engaging in that escalation, that's like what got him killed. They were like, no, you're gonna I'm trying to fucking play with my food right now. You're gonna fucking play the game or you're gonna die. And that's where it went. It was like,
man, and the thing is, like, in this fascist society, we are ID'd, we have social security numbers, we have everything to track us. So like, you don't need it. You didn't need to forcefully stop him, period. You'd be like, all right.
License plate number, period. Like, if you have that, I know y'all can take pictures of license plates. You don't even have to follow us for that. Like,
but they had his name. They knew he had a warrant. They arrested him because he had a warrant.
You already ran his fucking information, exactly.
Like even if you, and I'm
you have his address, send a fucking ticket to his thing. And he didn't get the original letter. Like, they sent the original letter that he had a warrant waiting for him to the wrong address because he moved during COVID. So, I mean, yes, he had a warrant, and not that excuse.
That's a good point. During
COVID,
COVID,
he didn't even know.
Like, this person's scared for his life because he's surrounded by police, got taken to jail during the middle of fucking COVID.
Yeah.
So like why the fuck wouldn't he run in the situation? Because that's
like, let me get my car and leave, and like I can fucking deal with this later. Like, yeah, dude, that's the smart choice to make. That's what I would have done too. Like,
he's like, you arrested me for a misdemeanor warrant. I could die because of going there. And this probably was what he said.
There was a warrant for not showing up in court for another traffic violation. It's not like anything, and again, even if it wasn't serious, it doesn't matter, but it wasn't anything serious. It was just failure to show up in court because he didn't get the court notification because he moved during COVID and he didn't have his address changed. And so he wasn't getting these he didn't know he had a warrant. He didn't know he was supposed to show up in court, and that gave him a warrant. He didn't know. He's a fucking 20-year-old. Let me just be clear. Like, I don't think I even opened my mail until I was fucking 23-year-old. You know, like, he's a kid, like, and, you know, whatever mistakes he made, there's no reason that should have resulted in him dying for, like, peacefully walking away from a situation that he felt was escalating. I mean, that's exactly.
And, like, even the Supreme Court has said it's not illegal for black people to run from cops at this point. Like, they've said that dead ass.
They have every right to be intimidated, honestly. Like, we can't, even legally, we can't deny that anymore. Like,
I mean, a bunch of cops try to arrest you at this point, and say you have a warrant, but you don't have any reason to think you should have a warrant. I mean, I wouldn't blame you for being scared. Like, they gotta lynch me somewhere. Like, it's what time it is right now.
To the best of his knowledge, he didn't have a warrant, so. Yes, he did, but like the fact that they were confronting him and trying to escalate a situation where he's like, I straight up don't know what you're talking about. He's like, I'm gonna walk away. You have my license plate, you have my ID, you already fucking ran my shit, like, you send me a fucking letter, I'll deal with it, you know? But like, what the fuck was he supposed to think? Just being in a situation where somebody's like, antagonizing him, and he's like, I literally don't know what you're talking about. And my girl's in the car, like, I'm in the middle, I'm on my way to fucking go wash my mom's car for her, like, you know, like, I'm doing stuff, going about my day. I'm not doing anything crazy, you know, I'm not doing anything wrong. I'm just gonna leave the situation. I would have done the same thing, you know, like, there's no reason for him to engage in a situation like that, but like it was literally they were like, no, you have to because we said so. And we're the judge, jury, and executioner. So if you don't do what we say, we get to execute you. Like, no, dude. Like, what the fuck is? Like, he literally wasn't even doing anything.
And who are these people?
Also, one of them was like a junior fucking rookie cop or whatever, and the other one was supposed to know better, and clearly had all the best training, had all the training that's available, trained the other people because they had all the training. So stop fucking saying that they need more training.
Yeah, I mean, like,
stop fucking saying that they need more training because we're training them how to kill people. That's literally what they keep getting trained to do. The more training they get, the fucking worse this gets. I mean, we
don't need more training. We don't need reform. We don't need defund. We need abolish.
Yes.
Like, they need to be gone. But here's the thing: is like, right? Like, why? Who are these people? Why are they the people that you trust? Like, they're the biggest perpetrators in this
what
fucking
reason
country.
do you have to trust any of them either? Like, what have they?
Like the long history of everything from murder to sexual assault,
exactly.
Like the list just goes on. Theft, extortion, and they are who we choose to trust. Like, come on,
like for
man.
what reason? I mean, I don't know about y'all, but every other person in my life, anybody in my personal life who I feel has earned my trust, like they had to earn it. So I don't like the police have straight up never, even before I ever had any bad like violent interactions with the police. I still never had a good one, so I mean, they never did anything to make me feel like, okay, they're really helping the community here. Like, there was never a point in time where I was like seeing them having a positive influence anywhere. Like, it's always antagonism. That's kind of the whole point, because the more they antagonize, the more they can escalate a situation, the more that charges they can press on people and stuff like that, the more money they can make. And that's really the whole point. So, I mean, even calling them into a situation where like nothing escalated is happening or whatever. Even, I mean, I know people who, like, as a sex worker, I know plenty of people who have tried to report things and they didn't want to press charges or do anything. They just want to get it on paper for record's sake, for safety's sake or whatever. And something like that, which should be so simple and requires almost no resources and also no training, requires almost no resources. Anybody who can fucking do basic file keeping can do this job or whatever. But like, they'll turn down shit like that and then spend, you know, money on getting fucking Bearcats to like run people over with in fucking Capitol Hill. You know, it's like what?
They're never meant
your
to be
interest
safe.
is clearly not in keeping people safe. Yeah, exactly. Like, your interest is clearly, that's not the point. Like, that was never the point. And even when you have opportunities that are easy for you to do, even if it's like they're not even trying to look like they're doing that, you know, like at this point they're not. Like something like that, you know, filing reports for people who are being assaulted or like stolen from, or things like, you know, that sort of thing should be pretty easy, and that sort of thing actually is very helpful when it comes to resolving, like, you know, relatively minor situations like that where it's just, you know, a couple of people involved and it's a matter of holding those people accountable or whatever. That sort of thing is like, goes a long way, but they're not there for that. They will like literally turn you down if you ask them for help with that kind of thing. And then like, if you fucking call them to your house after an incident like that or something, they'll like imply that, you know, you did something, or, you know, like they're you know, like there's just no help. They only like further the trauma. Even when you try and fucking give them the opportunity to help, they use it as an opportunity to fucking fuck shit up more. It's like, dude, what are we still, I mean, what is even the use for them at this point? I feel like there's nothing
to address us.
Yeah, exactly. There's no benefit to any community, really. I mean, I don't know. I guess that's a questionable statement, but there's definitely some people benefiting. But,
yeah. Some rich people.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess I'm gonna end with this. It says last statement real quick. It's like an out, and then we chat like a part 2 if you're down at some point.
Sure.
With like kind of where we would want to take it to, but it's like a little longer than most of my normal videos. I don't think we're gonna edit a lot out because there's a lot of really good content, so a lot of people to stay in.
Good.
But I think here's the thing we gotta really think about is like, when if any ex-con knows, like, that when we go to prison, right, and when we go to jail and we go to get sentenced and stuff, right, and we sit in that sentencing room, we watch chimo after chimo, rapist after rapist walk.
Yeah.
And so when we see the people who do the most
we can
vicious
see with
atrocities,
our own eyes that the fucking system isn't working. For
it
the
isn't
people
meant to work like
it's
that.
It's not meant to, exactly.
That's their boogeyman that keeps people supporting them.
Exactly.
But in real life, they don't give two fucks
it's
about
marketing. It's pure marketing. Like, it's PR. Like, we're here to help the community. It's like, no, actually, the things that people need active help with, you don't help with. And then the things that are really just like consequences of people being in shitty situations, or people being like, dude, fucking people. One of my more recent not interactions, but involvements that I had with police was one of my best friends, the mama of my godkids. She had her kids taken away from her for like 2 months because the cops came into her house, like busted the door down because a neighbor actually called the police for themselves, not for her. The cops went into the wrong house and just decided that like her kitchen was too messy and they were gonna take the kids, and then for 2 months she couldn't get it back. Like, it's just insane. She's like, there's literally, my kids are special needs, they need to be at home, like, the foster house they ended up in, they ended up getting abused at, like, it was just, you know, nothing good came of it. It was literally just a lot of trauma and stress and money and, like, just sleepless weeks for her, you know, that she had to work with, like, attorneys and, you know, social workers and stuff like that. It was just, like, a whole fucking ordeal. And ultimately, they were like, sorry, you're fine, you can have your kids back. Like, there's nothing wrong. So there was no point in us taking them. We just had to, like, make sure. It's like, why? Like, why? Like, there's literally, y'all aren't, even when you're trying to do something that is, like, virtuous, so to speak, even when you're trying to show up in a situation where somebody has been, like, accosted in some way or a kid is involved or something, you aren't fucking helping. Like, you just are too ignorant. You don't even know how to fucking help at this point. Exactly. No amount of training is gonna fucking change that. Like, what we clearly need is not police who are there just to get somebody in trouble, because that's not what every emergency is about. Like, that's not how it works. Like, sometimes that's not how helping people works. Like, yeah.
Yeah, we'll save that a little bit for next one, what we should have instead. But I want to thank everybody for rocking with us and staying with us for the whole conversation. Have you had to deal with police? Let me know in the comment section what your experiences with the police are and what you've learned about them or how to deal with them moving forward. Make sure to subscribe, to like, to hit that bell when you subscribe, and make sure to personalize it so you can stay notified so you get every one of my videos when it uploads. Make sure to follow me at all my social medias. That means villainous_music at Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, SoundCloud, Patreon. Yeah, especially that Patreon, and even Twitch. But I kind of barely use Twitch. But yeah. I hope to see y'all next video. I'm gonna catch y'all. I'm out of here. Deuces.
Walking through the crease and the cracks of the streets, struggling for some food and a bed to sleep, while trying to cause overthrow. I'm feeling weak. Ideology, but